Welcome to Mid-American Money. I'm Ernie Goss, Professor of Economics here at Creighton University and head of the Economic Forecasting Group here also at Creighton University. Today I'm joined by Tony Hendrickson, Dean of the College of Business at Creighton University, and by Mary Ann O'Brien, who is CEO of OBI Creative. Very happy to have her here today with us. We're going to talk about how companies can deal with this exhausted consumer out there and what companies could and should be doing. First off, though, let me talk about the economic outlook, at least from our current survey. So first off, let me review the findings from our monthly survey, which we've been doing since 1994. Each month we survey 900 companies across 9 states, stretching from North Dakota and Minnesota in the north to Oklahoma and Arkansas in the south. And we survey them each month, as I said, and we get a real good bead on what's going to happen to the U.S., the regional economy, and for that matter, the U.S. economy over the next 6 to 9 months. So let me review the findings from the December survey, which were released the first week in January. So these are hot off the press, folks. The Business Conditions Index, that's the leading economic indicator, points to a frail 2010. Now that's not a recession, that's a frail economic recovery, which is of course not what we'd like to see. For December, only 11% of the firms reported an increase in employment, while 16% detailed or reported a decline. So we're losing jobs. That's not good, of course. Inventories declined for the 15th straight month. Now that's of course very surprising. We expect some rebuilding of inventories, and only 4% of the supply managers indicate the current levels of inventory are too low. So are we going to get this inventory restocking? Doesn't look like it from our survey. Finally, inflation in the pipeline is too high. So that said, boy, those weren't good. Sorry, folks. This is it's just not what we'd like to see. And Tony and Mary Ann, we got This is not the economy we'd like to see, but it's the economy we're probably going to see. So, Mary Ann, in this fragile U.S. economy, fragile regional economy, and your company provides solutions, marketing, branding solutions, how is this affecting advertising and marketing for companies?
Well, the obvious answer is really that people are pulling back, companies are pulling back on their advertising and marketing spend. But what we're seeing, what we've seen since about September, October, is that companies are actually, the more visionary companies are taking more risks, are being a little more aggressive when it comes to marketing and advertising in this economy. So it's still down, but I'm starting to see a shift a little bit in at least interest in reviewing where their brand is, helping to figure out how they define value for their customers, and then starting to talk about, okay, how do we get back into the market and start getting into the consideration set of consumers again.
Now, from an economic standpoint, advertising, marketing, that's supposed to motivate sales. So
Yes.
when your sales are down, why on earth are you cutting back on what's supposed to be generating more sales?
I know. There really is a science to marketing, and it's true. You need to advertise in order to generate a response.
I mean, as we call that endogeneity, but that's for the economist out there. Okay, Tony. Why are consumers on the sideline? As Mary Ann's saying, things are picking up, but not what we'd like to see. So why are we still on the sidelines? What's going on?
Well, first of all, I think a lot of businesses cut those marketing expenditures because they want to cut cost initially, and because there's that delay effect. So that's a kind of answer to the previous question, but you're right. It doesn't make a lot of sense of why that occurs. But I think people are on the sidelines because there's still a lot of uncertainty out there. Incredible uncertainty.
Okay. So uncertainty?
In political uncertainty, obviously in terms of cap and trade, health care, where the economy is going, what's the job, what's the unemployment outlook. With so much uncertainty, people are really keeping their powder dry.
So health care reform, cap and trade, tax increases. So let's blame the government. I mean, you and I are pretty.
Well, absolutely.
We're free market business.
It's certainly
people.
not the business people.
That's right. It's not us. It's them up there in Washington. Okay. Now, in this regard, Mary Ann, if you got to give advice, well, you do give advice. I mean, that's what you're doing for your company does. What should companies be doing? I mean, like, should they be going to, instead of being on the advertising on the Super Bowl, should they be advertising using Twitter, using blogs, handhelds? What's going on there?
Well, the first thing they need to do is really take a look at the available market. And the available market is probably larger than it was a year ago to them because some of their competitors may be gone.
Okay,
so there's
that's
market
an
share to pick up.
Yeah,
there's an opportunity there. So they need to look at what who their customers are today and who their prospects are today. And then they need to target them appropriately. And we really have walked away from a real demographic targeting to a more behavior-based targeting. So we want to intersect consumers where where it's most relevant to them based on their behavior. So if the Super Bowl is what is the right place, that may be the right place to advertise. But if Twitter is where they're spending a lot of their time and they're being influenced, that's the right place. So really you need to take the time to build your marketing plan and really look at consumers based on how they behave, not how you want them to behave.
What are some of the real apparent consumer or behavior-based marketing kinds of things that you would point to?
Well, so I guess what you said, Ernie, looking at alternative means of alternative tactics when it comes to marketing. So, for example, if you and I both like chocolate, even though we're not in the same demographic set, we may be more likely to influence one another on a blog about chocolate, let's say. So if I'm selling chocolate, I'm going to advertise on that blog where I know there are like minds, like behaviors, and they influence one another. So you really just have to be a very smart marketer, and the way that you do that is you start to understand the customer from the customer's perspective, not from the business's perspective. Customers drive the demand.
Okay.
Good points.
Okay, Tony, now, you and I, we're going to see a double dip recession. Are we going to go back into recession? We come out of the recession, or are we going to go back into it?
I'm very concerned about that at this point. If you look at those purchasing manager numbers, they're not responding. The government's put a phenomenal amount of money into trying to stimulate the economy, and it really doesn't appear that it's worked very well. There's just a lot of signs that say things could easily slip. Unemployment is not ebbing.
Oh, we're at 10%, and it's likely to go higher. We'll know on February the 5th when that comes out. Marianne, what's your bet? Is it a V or a W?
Oh, boy, I'm the ultimate optimist, but
okay,
I'm telling you, I'm a little
concerned. Marketing and
I've got to be optimistic.
Yeah, be an economist. I mean, if you want to be, if you want to be pessimistic, join us.
I think we all have to start spending. I mean, I do think that's important, but it's there is a lack of consumer confidence. There is no question, and I agree. I don't think what's happening, with our government is helping as much as we might have thought it would have.
I know.
So we've got to find.
We had George Bush's No Child Left Behind. We've now got No Economist Left Behind. I'm so busy. I mean, and when we're working, it might not be the best time. In other words, if we're in high demand, then we would like to have products in high demand, not economists in high demand, not lawyers. We're the overhead. We're overhead, folks. So let's get products. So Tony, what are you? You're an optimist, though. You're an optimist.
I'm optimistic, but I don't see a lot of optimism in the numbers and in the data that we're seeing. I think that we have still one of the world's best economies, the world's best economy, no doubt. But we're not doing things to pick ourselves up. We're not. We're not cutting people's taxes.
Yeah, we need to motivate them.